Power rankings, should we go?
Yeah, let's talk about Kellen Moore since you
Kellen
just.
Moore.
How do you like that? Do you like that?
I'd have to look more into Kellen Moore. I'm not super familiar with it. Where was he before? LAOC?
Yeah, LAOC before this. Before that, Cowboys OC.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know a ton about him.
Former Cowboys quarterback too.
Oh, he was. I mean, if you're the Cowboys, I think you take who you can get.
That's true.
You don't have you're not willing to pay top dollar. Nobody wants to work with Jerry Jones
For a good reason, I think.
Yeah, so I mean, you take what you get.
Yeah.
I think there are better head coaching options out there. I mean, Mike McCarthy thing didn't really work, so might as well try something new.
Yeah.
Besides that, I don't know. I don't know a ton about the situation to
the Kellen Moore thing.
Have a strong opinion either way, but yeah.
Well, Ben Johnson, we're in the city of Chicago. Might as well talk about that.
You don't have anything to say about Kellen Moore?
Kellen Moore, he's Kellen Moore. We saw him on the Chargers. No one loves him there. We were seeing him in the Eagles, and we like it, but
we don't love it though.
He has the best O-line in football and the best running back in football, who I already thought was a top 3 running back.
And they're doing enough with him.
Yeah,
but they're
passing. It's not. And
I don't know if you blame coaching or Jalen Hurts.
His calling card is his passing game.
Yeah,
that's what he's famous for.
Yeah,
I never have been a huge Kellen Moore fan,
and we've seen other people get more out of Jalen Hurts.
But what you said about the Cowboys is spot on. I mean, I don't know anybody who's flocking to go there simply because nobody wants to be Jerry Jones' bitch professionally. It's just not ideal.
And get paid less than any other offer.
He wants to pay dude off incentives. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous.
I don't know about that.
Ben Johnson.
I mean, I like it. I'm curious to see. Like, the offense is obviously a problem.
Yeah.
The Bears, Shane Waldron came in and did Shane Waldron things. Hence why he only was there for half a season.
Yeah.
I don't love if Ben Johnson is their guy, they need to commit to him because I'm really not all for.
You mean give him full power and shit?
Yeah, and I don't like the head coaching carousel the Bears have had for the past few years. Their young quarterbacks and destroying them.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, the Bears are a good team. They should be a playoff team. I don't know if they will be a playoff team next year, given how tough that division is. I think Minnesota will probably take a step back. But, yeah, I mean, just don't pull the trigger too quickly with him. Let him get in. Let him get his guys. And see where he goes from there.
I like the Bears a lot.
I do.
The future of the NFC North, I think.
I do too.
Well.
Yeah.
It's just a tough division.
I don't expect him to win 10 games next year.
I wrote in my notes 7 games, 8 games, 9 games. That's a win. That's a success, I think.
Yeah, no, I expect him to be a 7-10 team next year.
8 and 9 is more what I'm expecting.
But yeah, my main concern is they have a great defense. I just don't want to see that fall apart.
Yeah,
that was the one thing working with their team.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, yeah, Eberflus is a good defensive mind, I think. But when I think Ben Johnson,
they have a lot of expensive guys on defense too.
Yeah, of course. Jalen Johnson, Sweat,
Byron.
Yeah.
Tremaine Edmonds.
Yeah. There's a lot of expensive guys on that side of the ball, but the only reason why I have optimism for the Bears is because I think Caleb Williams can look a lot better in year 2 with Ben Johnson, which is obvious. That's the number one thing. I think when you're developing a quarterback, the number one thing is getting them with an offensive-minded coach. And if you figure out quarterback, everything else can kind of come together.
Yeah. I think Caleb Williams still has a ton of potential, obviously.
And Ben Johnson's gonna put that O-line together. He's gonna find some guys.
I mean, it wasn't real. In my opinion, it wasn't fair what they put on Caleb Williams to start the year.
What do you mean? Oh, the hype?
Mahomes is Prince.
Nick Wright.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
he's gonna be the next great. I think he started off in Nick Wright's quarterback tiers as like a top 5 or 7
And Nick
quarterback,
Wright
which
hadn't
is
gone to the Super Bowl. Like
yeah,
that
which
was
is
always too much.
ridiculous.
It was always too much.
But yeah, I mean, I think that the main thing is if you're in Chicago, it's tough seeing what Daniels is doing in Washington.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna sit here and tell you Daniels is miles ahead of what Caleb Williams is.
I think coaching was the main problem.
I mean, coaching Shane Waldron versus Cliff Kingsbury.
He lost the locker room quick.
Yeah, it was. I mean, it was a cluster. Chicago Bears dumpster fire.
Let me run one thing by you before we go to the power rankings.
Yeah.
So obviously we had Vrabel to the Pats, and we talked about it a bit. But that episode didn't get released. So I was wondering how, because the Bills had a great season. They dominated the AFC East. You've now won 2 playoff games, and you're in the AFC Championship game.
Yeah.
How quickly do you think the Pats can be a threat to you?
I think they're a year or two removed from, or a year or two away from being a wild card team in the AFC.
Mm-hmm.
The thing is, the AFC has a lot of depth, and it'll be hard to be a wild card team.
Sure.
With the Bengals, the Steelers. I mean, nobody in the. I mean, the Jags could theoretically get there once again, but they took a massive step back in the past year and a half and became a joke.
I mean, you look at teams like the Texans. You look at teams like the Chargers. You look at teams like the Broncos.
Yeah, the Chargers.
Is there any
Broncos.
real specific reason why the Pats can't be one of those teams next year? With Vrabel as head coach, if he's as good as we all say he is.
Well, right now, yes. Christian Gonzalez and Drake May are great players.
Mm-hmm. What's our perception?
Nobody else is.
I agree. The roster is actually horrible.
So I their roster right now isn't built to win more than 5 or 6 games.
But what's our perception on Vrabel? Because we looked at D'Amico Ryans. We did not have that team in their first year going. What would they go?
I don't remember.
9-8, winning the division.
Yeah,
and I know that's an easier division, and I get that context is everything with these things. But if we believe that Vrabel is what we think, like most people consider him like a top 10 coach in the NFL.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd have to sit down and think about it. I don't know about top 10 just for the pure sake. Top 10 coaches don't get fired.
I don't think that's true.
But
I don't think it's true.
What I'll say about the Texans had the 2nd and 3rd overall. I think they traded up to get to 3 that year, but they had 2 of the top 3 picks that year, and Will Anderson and C.J. Stroud. They went from Davis Mills to C.J. Stroud.
They have what, the 4 pick this year?
The Patriots?
Yeah,
I think 5? So, but they can't get as many game-changing players right away. I mean, they could possibly land Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter, which would do great things to that defense. I think Vrabel will build a good defense, and I mean, maybe he's just in Tennessee with Derrick Henry, but I'm pretty sure he likes to run the ball a lot and have an established run game. I don't think Antonio Gibson and Ramondre Stevenson will offer you that. I mean,
we said the same thing about Austin Eckler and Brian Robinson Jr.
They've been
like. Do we think
they've been average?
Do we think Vrabel's better than Dan Quinn as a head coach? We do, right?
Yeah.
And did we think going into this year? Didn't we think that the NFC East was better than the AFC East? I feel like we did.
Yeah. I mean, that was influenced with Dak Prescott's injury. I mean, even when he was playing, he didn't look great.
But I think they would have come second even if the Cowboys were healthy. I think maybe they would have lost more.
With the way the Cowboys looked with Dak.
Maybe they would have lost another game, but they'd still be in the same position more or less.
Yeah. I mean, Daniels. I think Brian Robinson, Austin Eckler are a little better than Gibson and Steven. I think a good deal closer. I don't know how many running back duos I'd put behind Stevenson and Gibson.
Mm-hmm.
I think Robinson and Eckler are pretty middle of the road for me in terms of running backfields. But they have Jane Daniels, who's also a rushing threat in a way that Drake May really isn't. And they have, most importantly, Terry McLaurin.
Yeah.
I don't know who led the Patriots in receiving statistics this year. I'd have to look.
I'm sure I don't know.
If I had to guess, it's probably Hunter Henry.
That's pretty sad.
Yeah, they need a receiver. I don't know if they get that guy at 4.
It's not an amazing receiver class.
Yeah, you can
Not
get
like the
Hunter at
past.
4, but I don't know if Hunter's I think he's. I don't know how much of a receiving offensive impact he'll have right away in the NFL.
He's not Malik
And
Neighbors.
yeah, if he's not Malik Neighbors offensively speaking, and I think he's a better defender than he is receiver, and I think you want him taking his primarily most of his snaps on that side of the ball.
Malik Neighbors was a far superior receiver
Yeah,
prospect.
exactly.
Romo Dunze was a pretty
Yeah,
clear
I don't
better
think Travis
receiver
Hunter would be a
prospect.
top 10 receiver, um, or a top 10 pick as a receiver. Is what I'm saying.
That's just a receiver.
Yeah,
I mean, he probably would be, but he wouldn't be as good a prospect as he was.
yeah. Well, my main thing, you're gonna want him playing cornerback,
Malik Neighbors in any other
primarily.
class is the number 1 receiver prospect.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is you're gonna want Travis Hunter playing cornerback, not receiver.
I think so.
Primarily cornerback at least. So you probably, if you're having him play mostly defense, you're not gonna want him playing every single offensive snap. I mean, I don't know how possible it is to play as on both sides of the ball like that in the NFL. We've seen it a little bit from Dion and Edelman, I think.
Yeah.
But even I think Edelman was playing like edge rusher or linebacker or something after an injury. Someone else got hurt. Like,
Yeah.
wasn't a game plan. So I don't think Travis Hunter's going to fix them offensively. And I mean, as great as he is defensively, you have Gonzo, and I think there are better, more pressing issues to target than Travis
I don't
Hunter.
think you'll get Hunter at 4.
He's still on the who's in front of him? New York, Cleveland, and Tennessee. Yeah, so I don't know if they'll get him.
I really doubt it.
Yeah, so that leaves him with Abdul Carter.
Yeah.
Or they could trade the pick and get more depth if someone else wants to get in there, which wouldn't be a bad move. But their offensive line, I'm pretty sure, is dead last in most rankings there are. Yeah, with the 4th overall pick and not a ton of draft capital besides that.
You can't get any quarterback.
Yeah.
Not anyone worth his salt at 4. Not this year.
Yeah.
And you can't get any top flight receiver like you could last year.
So it'd be Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter. There's a lineman too, I think, which might be their pick actually, thinking about it. It's supposed to be pretty good. Maybe.
Yeah, they say he's really good.
So maybe
I don't think he's as good as like Joe Alt.
Yeah, for sure. But they have a ton of money at least. They could be aggressive. Maybe they could offer T. Higgins something he can't turn down.
Isn't Mason Graham on the D line?
I don't know. I forget the guy's name. I haven't taken a ton of look at draft boards.
All right, 4th power rankings. I had Commanders.
I also had the Commanders. I mean, they're playing great. They're playing outside of their mind, exceeding every expectation. They stunned the world on Saturday night, but and maybe they win on Sunday. I don't know if they beat Kansas City or Buffalo if they make it to the Super Bowl.
I like them more against Kansas City than Buffalo.
Yeah, me too. But
it can't be a close game.
Yeah, I mean, I like them more than I like Kansas City more for them in the Super Bowl than Buffalo too, purely on the fact that you're playing an offensive-minded coach versus a defensive-minded coach, and I think McDermott could make it tougher on Daniels and confusing him and stuff like that. But I mean, one step at a time with the Commanders.
This is what I said about the Commanders. I said they have the most clutch rookie I've ever seen. And I came in your room, I told you that.
Yeah.
And I said that this was in the episode that we didn't have released. I said that this was. I think that this was the most possible upset that could happen this week, like legitimate upset.
Mm-hmm.
Shame that didn't come out because I would look like a genius. But I don't think they can beat the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, they beat them once this year, but they were playing with Kenny Pickett, and they barely beat them by like 1 point in a 4th quarter comeback.
It's a divisional thing, so who knows?
Who knows? Yeah,
But if I had
Dan
to,
Quinn might be able to target Jalen Hurts
I
and
like
try
the
to expose him as
matchups.
a passer.
Like the two
Yeah,
teams that he's played have had no real significant edge rushers to cause him problems or have brought
yeah,
enough pressure. He hasn't really been touched in this postseason, which is cool. And part of that is him because he's great at
hmm
escaping. He's great at creating under pressure, and he's great has great pocket presence. He has all year. But the truth is that Philadelphia D line is a bunch of monsters. They're a
yeah.
bunch
And
of goons.
you're seeing guys like Nolan Smith finally coming
Yeah,
around.
6.5 sacks this
Um,
year. I had to look at that.
yeah,
Gotta look at Jalen Carter.
Jalen Carter is on his way to being one of the best defensive tackles
You're
in
high on him.
football.
Yeah.
Um, Quinyon Mitchell, he got hurt. I don't
They have
know.
an all-pro linebacker in Zach Braun.
Yeah, I saw that.
He's an all-pro first teamer.
Yeah,
And no one. I mean, well, people
Blankenship's
know
been
who he is,
playing
but people
well
don't really know.
too.
Yeah, Blankenship, C.J. Gardner. We love clowning C.J. Gardner Johnson. He's been pretty good.
He had a rough start to the season, but he's been playing better as of
That's what
recently.
I'm saying. Like he's at
Um,
least an average to above
do you
average
know the
starter.
status on Quinyon Mitchell?
No, I don't. I'm not sure.
That'll be interesting to monitor
For
because
sure.
we saw what he did to poor Terry McLaurin the first time they played.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
was it? 2 catches, 10 yards or something.
Mm-hmm. He's
Maybe
he's,
2 targets, 10 yards.
What do they call him? Quinyanamo Bay.
Something like that. Yeah.
They got Big Play Slay too. They
So
got CJ. They got the white Cooper DeJean.
yeah.
Like they that's a loaded defense. And then I turn around and look at Commanders defense and they're good, but even in their last two
Bobby,
performances,
Marshawn Lattimore,
and the fellas
and the
and
other
the fellas
guys.
and the guys. You know what I mean? Like
Um,
they let up a lot of points to the Lions, who are the Lions, but they also
yeah.
turned the ball over, and you still let up a lot of points to them. You let up a lot of points to the Bucks. You like, I don't know how they're stopping Saquon Barkley. I cannot point to you and tell you who's taking Saquon Barkley out of that game.
Yeah, I mean it'd have to be Bobby Wagner.
Once he gets to the second level, I think he's got to have speed on him.
But we saw what linebackers can do in the run game with Baltimore last night. Derrick Henry ran for 200 the first time they played.
Yeah, I know.
And then was held to 83, 84 yards last night.
Yeah, but if he's getting past that first line every time, and you were relying on Bobby Wagner to stop him,
the Bills were down 2 linebackers. This is one guy we're talking about.
Yeah, we're talking about one guy. Like I really don't think. I don't think.
But if it comes to a shootout, I like the command. If some way comes to a shootout, I like the command. Like if they could try to do, I mean, if I'm Dan Quinn, I'm trying to recreate what the Bills did last night and put the game in Jalen Hurts' hands because Saquon Barkley can and will beat you if you let him. So you're gonna do everything to make Jalen Hurts beat you. I don't think they have the
facilities for that.
Yeah,
I really don't think they.
I don't know if he does.
I think the Bills have a much better D-line.
They do,
and a much better linebacking core.
Yeah,
than the Commanders do. I don't think
probably every position on defense almost.
Yeah, I don't think that is true. It's a fact. We have multiple stats to back it up. Like I don't think they're going to be able to stop him and keep him off the ground. But whatever. Who'd you have at 3?
The Eagles.
You know what I had?
Bills. Yeah, I mean
It's not for why you think it might be though.
For me, I mean the reason I had the Eagles at 3 is, I mean, I don't know. I just I view the 2 best teams as football left playing in the AFC Championship.
Yeah, I think I agree with you.
My main.
Actually, no, I don't.
My main thing is I just don't trust Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, and I think that's important. And that's what I almost put the Bills at 1.
Huh?
I put the Bills at 1.
I almost did too.
But then I put them at 3.
But like, yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna take the Chiefs one away from the Chiefs until someone else does.
Mm-hmm.
Like when a team knocks them off, I'll until proven otherwise. But
yeah,
yeah, I mean,
why'd you have the Eagles at 3?
Jalen Hurts.
And look, I have no problem with that. Like, it scares me. It does. But I looked at the team, and as much as I think quarterback play is important, like, I think Lamar Jackson played just as well as Josh Allen.
Yeah, I agree with you.
Maybe a little worse.
The
spots.
The difference maker is just the turnovers and the lack of negative plays.
I think Lamar Jackson played overall net positive negative. I think he played about as well. And I think Jalen Hurts if that's true, then it doesn't matter because I think the Eagles are better than the Bills at every other part of the game. I think they're better. I think they have a better O line. I don't think you disagree with that. I think they have a better. I think they have better running backs. Maybe not. They have a better running game. And I think they have better receivers. I think they have a better D line. I think they have a better secondary. And linebacking core is the only place where I'd be inclined to give it to the Bills. But it's not being close. It's not a walk in the park. Like that Zach Braun guy, I had to watch him. I had to go back and look at this because I didn't want to have the Bills this low. But literally, he's a stud. He's a stud.
Yeah.
And the Bills are a great team, but they're not better anywhere than the Eagles. So it came to me it was Bills or Eagles. And I said, the Eagles are better at everything. Their quarterback is worse. I've seen their quarterback play well before. It was a long time ago. It was so long ago. But I've seen it happen.
And he's capable of it.
You know what I mean? He's the same dude.
Yeah. My main thing is I don't think the Commanders have the utilities or power to stop Saquon Barkley. I don't know if the Bills or Chiefs have the power to stop him, like box him up, but I think it's possible that they can hold him under 100 yards. And Spagnuolo's defense and Bobby Babbitt's defense, like I anticipated them to make it hard on Saquon Barkley.
I don't even really care about stopping Saquon Barkley. For me, you got to win against them in the trenches on the O line.
Yeah,
and I'm talking like guy for guy. I can't think of one team that like. I'm looking at Jordan
they have
Mailata.
the most complete team
I'm looking
in
at Lane John. Yeah, like I don't know how you're gonna push those guys around. It's not about stopping Saquon, because he's good and all. He's really good, but their O line is better than
their O line is good, but I mean we saw Oliver giving Linderbaum some problems last night.
Yeah,
we saw him give Ragnow some problems.
Sure.
They can hold their own. My like I said, my main concern is simply just Jalen Hurts and how I was very high on him. I need to see a good game out of
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
I know.
I just need to see it.
That was what I said. That's exactly what I said. No, it's irrational. Almost because if they keep doing this to everybody, then we never needed to see it. You know what I mean? Like if they beat every team exactly like this, then we were all wrong, and we never needed to see a good game.
When was their last loss to Jalen Hurts?
They've won 12 straight games now.
They lost to the Commanders. Remember? Around Christmas.
Eagles schedule. Maybe I'm wrong.
They lost week 17.
They did?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Was Jalen Hurts playing?
Or maybe it was week 16. No. That's what I'm saying. When's the last time they lost Jalen Hurts?
Playing.
He got hurt. He got hurt in the first quarter or first half.
No, November 14th. Oh, that's a long time ago.
It was around Christmas.
Yeah, hold on.
Week 17 or 16 or 17.
1, 2.
It's to Washington.
Yeah. Hold on, that's really good. Okay. Okay, yeah. They lost to the Commanders by 3. Okay. Yeah, since then, they'll beat the Cowboys, beat the Giants, and
without. I'm talking about when's the last time.
How many games have they won with Jalen Hurts?
When's the last time they lost Jalen Hurts, and who was it to?
That's a good question. Let me see.
Because they lost to Tampa, they lost to Atlanta.
They lost to.
Was it that long ago?
I think he's won 11 straight games as a starter.
All right.
Starting and finishing the game. Yeah, the last one they had was to the Buccaneers, September 29th. That was
a beatdown, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was September.
So that's crazy to think about.
That was September.
I honestly like that less for them.
That's absurd.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that's absurd.
I like that less for them.
Why? Why? How is that a problem? How is that possibly a problem?
The longer, I don't know. I feel like the longer you go without losing, at a certain point, you're due.
Yeah, I get that.
You know what I mean?
I get that from a superstitious standpoint, and it's not even super. It kind of just how
your team needs to lose, every once in a while to get checked.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah, so
yeah, I think he's won 12 straight games as a starter though. I think that's true now.
yeah, so
like starting and finishing.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
Yeah, so I mean, we haven't seen them lose like this, but they beat Baltimore. What other? They beat Baltimore. They beat Washington, but they didn't play Detroit this year.
No.
They didn't play KC. They didn't play Buffalo.
Yeah, no, they didn't.
So is Baltimore their best win of the? I mean, Baltimore's a good win. It's a good team.
Yeah. I think they beat Baltimore. They beat the Rams twice now. Yeah, they beat down the Cowboys. Beat the Bengals.
Without Dak Prescott.
I think without Dak Prescott. Yeah. Yeah, it's true. There's not a bunch of. I mean, they beat the Packers opening night. I mean,
so KC and Buffalo would probably be some of the best defenses they've seen all year.
Probably.
Probably. Yeah. And Baltimore's right there with them. They beat Baltimore by like
true.
2 points
I didn't
at
think
home.
about it like that, but I mean, I don't know. I really like their O-line.
I do too.
I like Vic Fangio too. I mean, I think he's better against young guys like Jaden Daniels, but I think against more experienced guys like Josh Allen, they're not going to fall for his tricks as much. But I think he's crafty as hell, and I like any Vic Fangio led defense. I think he's one of the greatest defensive coordinators of all time.
Yeah.
So yeah. I mean, I don't know. I mean, we don't even have to talk about the other guys. Like, would you have it too? The Bills, and I had the Eagles, and then we both had the Chiefs. So, you want to talk about the Chiefs and the refs? As a Bills fan,
I'm not upset or offended. I believe that if the Bills are gonna have to beat the Chiefs this week, it's gonna have to beat a team like the Chiefs by 10 to win by 2.
Yeah.
I think what we saw this weekend was very interesting in the sense that every team that won lost the total yards.
Yards
against
gained. Yards gained, yard against too.
The main decision factor would be the has been the turnover battle. The Bills haven't lost a turnover battle all year. They had the best turnover differential.
I didn't think the Ravens were gonna win after the second turnover. I was like, it's over. And then they surprised me by going down the field.
They almost came back.
They almost made it OT. Well, not necessarily because Josh Allen would have had the ball back any other time. I'm not saying he wouldn't have. And maybe he would have scored. I don't know. I'm not inclined to think he would have scored a touchdown.
Just based on the way the second half looked.
The way the second half looked.
But
yeah, go ahead.
It was enough.
But I mean, those few mistakes. Like I saw that and I was like, you cannot have those mistakes against a team like the Bills win.
Yeah.
They won't beat themselves.
Yeah. So I like the Bills in that sense. If they haven't been turning the ball over, they don't have negative plays. They barely get sacked.
Yeah.
So I do like that. I never loved going into Kansas City and playing Kansas City, but I think with the refs, those are. I mean, you see bad calls. You see bad roughing the passer calls. Like we saw the Jets and the Bills earlier the year. I think it was Epinesa got one for sacking Rodgers. Like he had the ball.
Yeah.
We saw another one in the Bills game that was also egregious when Kyler Murray slid, and
a lot of these Bills calls are against the Bills.
Yeah, one of the players just dove over him. I mean, that's mostly what I've been where I've been remember these calls the most.
Yeah.
But the roughing the passer has been soft. In the NFL as a whole.
Well, Shannon Sharp made the thing. He was like, well, the way they're instructed is if you see that quarterback get hit, like you just throw the flag and we'll worry about it later. Like we'll figure it out. Like just throw the flag, which I believe is true.
And you definitely don't want Mahomes, Allen, or Lamar getting hurt in the playoffs. Those guys, if you're the NFL, those guys are your money makers.
Yeah. For sure.
the issue is now, I mean, the flopping. We see flopping from Mahomes and Allen.
Yeah, for sure. I
Uh,
mean, they're
but
competitive guys. They're gonna take every single. I don't blame them for the way the rules work,
yeah,
or for the refs protecting
I
them.
mean they've both been flopping, but I mean you could add an embellishment call. I don't know if that could help,
I saw
but
Allen fake slide in the playoffs.
yeah,
Like I mean, and I'm not. I don't blame them for that because they're high. They're the two of the most competitive guys to have ever played the sport.
and they'll win by any means
They
possible.
don't care about that. That's
Yeah,
beyond them. Their job is to get the win by any means possible. So I don't think of them as less of a man or less of a player. We're doing whatever they need to win the game because this isn't basketball, right? Like
yeah.
you're not flopping and like it's
I,
not like no one's it's not like you're not in any physical danger, right? Like when
yeah,
Patrick Mahomes goes down late, he's taking a hit. If
yeah,
he's doing that on purpose, he's signing up to take a hit from a guy who's a lot bigger and stronger than him. It's a
yeah,
different thing.
yeah.
That's why I hate it less.
No, I don't mind the flopping as much because, like, I mean I mean, you do sometimes see calls, but these guys aren't very good at selling the flops.
No, no.
So like, yeah, the flopping I'm not that bothered by. Mahomes has been giving himself up halfway through a hit to make it look worse than it. I don't like that, but that's more of a rule issue than with him.
Yeah.
The roughing the passer is a bad was just blatantly a bad call. But we've seen a bunch of bad roughing the passers. The main thing is it's now becoming a history, like a theme with the Chiefs that they're getting ridiculous calls that just happen to be game deciding calls every week, and the fans are sick of it, the media's sick of it. Everybody but Nick Wright and the Chiefs fans are really upset, or essentially upset with it.
Yeah.
And it'd be one thing, like, because every team has their own experience with bad roughing the passer calls and or bad unnecessary roughness calls. But the issue is, I mean, the Chiefs. It's not just unnecessary roughness in the passer. It's becoming phantom holds or pass interference or no calls. It seems like they have a false start almost every play when I watch them.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. Their tackle though, he's the most penalized I think left tackle in football or
And
something
he
like
should
that.
be more
And
penalized.
he should be more penalized. He sucks. Their tackles suck in general. I mean, they moved Joe Thuney out there, who's
Yeah.
kind of stopped the bleeding at that position, but
I mean, Will Anderson played well.
still some patchwork there.
Yeah, it's not a good narrative for the league. It's not a good narrative for the Chiefs. I don't know what the NFL could do about it. Maybe they could do some behind closed doors, talk to the officials. I don't know how that works.
I think
Maybe tweak the rule in the off season.
once you put that fish out there, you can't reel it back in.
Yeah.
Like you know what I mean? Like I don't think I mean you did this, they did this. Like
Yeah. So I don't know where you go from here for the NFL.
you think it has any impact on viewership in the future?
Um,
I think no.
the NFL's always growing. I don't see it stop growing anytime soon. So I don't think
So then, does it matter?
that's what I'm saying. I don't think it matters for the NFL. I think the NFL wants the Chiefs in the Super Bowl. They want Taylor Swift. They want Travis Kelce. They want Mahomes. I'm not alluding to the fact that they're helping them get there. I'm just saying from a viewership standpoint, that's what they want.
People are inherently biased. Whatever makes them the most money, they're
Yeah,
gonna want subconsciously or
the
consciously.
only time I could see it being an issue is if I mean NBA viewership started to go down at the end of the Cavs Warriors stint. Like if the Chiefs are keep getting there every single year, eventually at some point or another.
I don't think that's why viewership started going down.
I'm not saying that is, but I'm just saying that maybe could in the
I don't
future.
think people got tired of the teams with the Cavs Warriors. I think people got tired of it not being competitive. I think in 2017 and 2018,
Yeah,
when Kevin Durant got there, it was like this isn't close, and you can't convince us that this is close.
yeah. Well,
So why am I tuning in as much?
yeah. I mean the Chiefs too. I think the only people that really have an issue with the officiating and Taylor Swift getting thrown on the TV 10 times a game are the people who watch football religiously. The
I don't
people,
think that's true.
not necessarily, well, like,
Because we have friends who watch casually
yeah, that's
who do
true
not like
that
it.
are casual fans, but they're not, they don't really care. Like, they're not going to be super upset about the Chiefs winning. Um,
I guess
like
they'll
the
be mildly upset, but yeah, that's true. They're
the
not going to stop watching.
yeah,
They're not going to watch any more or any less.
nobody's gonna turn off the game. Like we're not ever gonna not watch the Super Bowl, but um, yeah, I mean, uh, the Chiefs just aren't. They're not a fun team to watch. And I mean, me personally, I find myself getting frustrated a lot of times I watch them with the calls.
Yeah, I know.
Especially on Sunday night with Chris Collinsworth. Yeah, there's been Sunday night games where I've just not watched this year.
What's the clip of him that you were telling me about where he's like the girls?
Oh, and he's talking about how he loves 14-year-old girls or something.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's funny.
Yeah.
Was he a college player? Or,
It was on the Bengals.
huh.
You'd think he'd be a little more pro Bengals, but maybe he's from Kansas City or something. Or or I don't.
I think he's just a fan.
I don't even think he's a fan of the team.
No.
I think he's a fan of the player.
I can't stand. I like Romo.
Romo.
I
mean,
Romo.
Yeah. He talks about Josh Allen.
I don't mind Aikman.
Fairly.
Yeah, I know, but
way.
but like he does glaze Josh Allen for sure.
Yeah, but it's not carnal lascivious like
yeah, like what's his name?
Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, like Chris Collinsworth.
Yeah.
It's not as bad. One and two, like
Tony Romo's not talking about Josh Allen if Josh Allen's not playing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
he's just a fan. Like he just likes the game.
Like
Collinsworth, it seems almost like a personal enjoyment of the person.
Like the clip when he threw that pick to Sauce Gardner 2 years ago, when he's like, "Oh, nobody arcs the ball like Patrick Mahomes," and
what?
he just failed to arc the ball and threw a pick.
Yeah.
Or saying that looks a little Mahomey, or he's bringing Kansas City to Buffalo.
Yeah.
Amari Cooper never played in Kansas City.
So silly.
Like,
all right, let's stop bagging on the refs. So I want to talk about the Cowboys. And what do they do now? Since it seems like the Dion thing is dead in the cradle.
If Kellen Moore's your guy, Kellen Moore's your guy.
Yeah, but like, what's the long-term plan here? Like, do we just keep running? I'm not even talking about coaching because we talked about coaching. I'm talking more like you always say they have a 3-man roster, right? They're paying Micah Parsons.
They haven't paid him yet.
Oh well, assumedly they're going to pay him.
Yeah, then that's going to be like 70% of their cap.
So how do you get better than the Commanders, and how do you get better than that? You're the GM. You're Jerry Jones. How are you going to be?
The first thing I'd do is hire a general manager, but they're obviously not going to do that.
No, they're not.
My main thing is I don't think they can be that anytime soon, because in order to get there, they're going to have to hit on a lot of late round draft picks.
Yeah.
And really
not
build
that late this year.
Yeah, but hit on a lot of key pieces, and they essentially have holes all over their roster except for 3 places. I mean, Rico Dowdle was a 1,000-yard rusher this year, but like
he was.
But,
really?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
That's shocking to me, but okay.
But like,
I guess they can do that. I guess anyone can get that nowadays.
Yeah, but like, is he the guy? Like,
no.
We don't want to move forward with him. We want to fix the offensive line.
Yeah. Zach Martin is unfortunately washed.
Brandon Cooks he's seen better days.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I mean, on the defensive side of the ball, you got Micah Parsons. You got
DeMarcus Lawrence is getting long in the tooth.
Trayvon Diggs, who I like him as a player. I hope he's okay and fully recovers, but it seems unlikely at this point that he's going to recover, or not necessarily recover, but be what he once was.
I'm doubtful to say that. I think I agree it's going to be tough, but he's young. He's very young.
This is his second major knee injury.
Yeah, like I said, I think it's It's going to be
He
tough.
might not even be ready for week 1.
It's going to be tough for sure. But I don't think it's. I think it's.
Cornerbacks. Besides cornerbacks, one of their least glaring issues.
Yeah, it's what they have the Deron Bland kid, who
Yeah.
he's a decent corner. He's not. He's a decent corner.
There are worse corners.
Yeah, there's worse corners.
I'm not going to say he's a top 5 or top 10 corner. I don't think.
No.
But he's flashy. What do you have? He had 6.
That's one of the meanest things you can say about somebody,
especially a cornerback.
He's flashy.
He had 6 touchdowns last year, right? Something like that.
Good for him. Last time I checked, he played defensive back.
Yeah, if you have a defensive player scoring 8 touchdowns,
it's cool, but
he's doing something right.
Yeah, no, for sure.
He might be doing something else terribly wrong,
Yeah.
But did he let up 8 touchdowns?
Yes.
So he might have had a net negative.
I think he led the league that year in
He had a very similar to Trayvon Diggs rookie year.
Yeah, I think it was worse in terms of I think I don't have the numbers in front of me.
Yeah,
but I think it was pretty bad.
Trayvon Diggs did show tremendous improvement and actually became a good corner.
If you need to have 3 positions that you have down pat, I pick quarterback, receiver. Well, actually, I pick quarterback, left tackle, and edge rusher. But quarterback, receiver, and edge rusher is my next pick. After those 3.
No, yeah, but you can have a roster of the thing is that's almost all their cap is on those 3 guys.
Mm-hmm.
The Ravens have 6. They had 6 All-Pro guys. The Bills only had 1 even, but those teams had depth and other guys. It's really they don't really have depth.
No, they don't.
They don't have any guys who are really good but don't get a bunch of recognition. They are what they are, and I don't trust Jerry Jones to draft well to fix it because that's the only thing you can really do.
He's drafted well historically.
He's hit well on his early picks.
He's not drafting. He's not.
Yeah, I don't think he's drafting. But they need to. They have a lot of holes to fill, and they can't target them in free agency. Realistically speaking,
they're a victim of their own popularity. Because every year, I think he hears it, and I think he's impacted by the way the media talks about him. I really believe that.
Yeah, so he threatened to get a Dallas radio host fired.
I think if they have another disappointing season, I think he'll think drastic measures need to be taken when in reality, you had a window and it closed. And now you got to go to the process of rebuilding that team up, and you have some cornerstones. But now you have to go and you have to take maybe a year, maybe 2, maybe even 3, and you have to rebuild that organization.
But you also got to realistically, he should look into the fact of moving on from one of those 3 guys just to make cap room.
It would make the job quicker, but you're not sure you can replace any of those guys if we're being honest.
No, you probably can't.
You odds are you can't. So why not just take the time, probably several years it'll take to rebuild the roster around those guys, and then attack stronger after that.
So how many years out do you think they are? 2, 3?
In that division? Dude, with the way the Eagles look and how young their Eagles defense is, and then I turn around and look at the Commanders and how.
So you're saying it might be 3 or 4?
The Commanders have a rookie, have a top somebody who'll go into next year as considered a top 10 quarterback on a rookie deal. And they have a bunch of cap room. There's no reason why the Eagles can't get even better than they are right now, and they're arguably a top 3 team in football right now. There's no reason why the Commanders can't. Well, they are. They're one of the 4 best teams in football. 2 of the teams in your division are one of the 4 best teams in football, and they both can get better.
Yeah.
It's going to be a while.
So we're looking at 3 or 4 more years probably. At that point, Dak Prescott's contract runs out.
Yeah, man.
So why are we paying this guy $60 million a year if we're not going to compete with him? You might as well. You might. Well, no. You might if you can't compete and be like, hey, we're not there with these other teams. There's no way for us to get there. Why don't we sell this while it's at its most valuable point or value has its most value, and get something in return so we can build up stronger, and then be ready with those teams
I hear
when
your
those
point.
contracts hit for those teams.
I hear your point. I get what you're saying on that front. I don't even necessarily disagree. I just think the Cowboys really are in a position, media-wise, where they can't rebuild.
Yeah,
And
no, they can't.
So I think what I'm saying is the next
It's
best
not even a
option.
media position as much as it is Jerry Jones's pride.
Yeah, that's really what it is. Like, and I mean, I guess and honestly, we're both kind of like being ridiculous because neither of these things will happen. Obviously, like they're not going to stick with a coach who might be good and develop him as they develop the program, and like over the next 3-4
Kellen
years
Moore
build
has
themselves
2
back
years
up.
to make the playoffs, or he's probably fired.
Yeah, most likely. And it's like I
If
don't
he,
know.
if
I don't
he,
want to talk about the Cowboys anymore.
yeah,
Interestingly, let's talk about. I mean, well, we can go two ways here. We can either go to score predictions, or we can go to the coaching carousel. I'll leave that up to you. Which would you rather do first?
Or we could talk about what's next for the teams that just lost.
Do that too. Let's do that.
All right.
What do you want to talk about?
I'll talk about Baltimore.
All right, go
on. Just because it's the first thing on my mind.
Yeah, I'll follow you after.
Just coming in, Cooper Kupp is sure he wants to play next season. Unsure if he wants to play at the Rams.
Whoa, that's interesting.
I mean, I guess we'll talk about the Rams and where they go.
Yeah,
a game from Adam Schefter, so
probably true.
Yeah, I mean, I heard he was upset with his role being diminished and playing behind Puka Nacua.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. Is he a free agent? If how much he's getting paid? I don't know much about his contract, so I don't know what a realistic move would look like.
Keep talking, and I'll figure it out.
But what I mean, you're older now. You've struggled to stay on the field for the better ever since your insane 2020 year.
Mm-hmm. He's got 2 years left after this.
Yeah, so and Puka Nacua is a top 10 receiver at this point.
Okay.
One of the better younger receivers in the game. It's hard to say. It's really he doesn't get enough media coverage, or people don't want to it's harder to recognize his greatness than what's going on in Minnesota and Cincinnati.
Well, he also wasn't a blue chip prospect. So
yeah,
I think people.
He's not as good as those guys, but he's a very good young receiver.
I mean, we knew Justin Jefferson was like him once he was like 20.
Yeah,
like, you know what I mean. Like,
yeah, for sure. We just yeah, exactly. So Puka Nacua is a great player. I don't know what you're expect. Like, do you expect to be the number one guy over Puka Nacua? You're not playing on the game.
I don't think that's really his problem. I'm sure.
He doesn't like his role diminished.
He said that.
Yes.
That was what the Jefferson.
He said no. I said that earlier this year. That he said something like he's using God to cope with the fact that his role is being diminished.
That's not good.
Yeah.
And I mean, because if you know anything about Cooper Kupp, he's a competitive guy. He's like a fiery guy, and he worked for this. Like to get to where he was that 1 year where he was like had the best receiver season ever. He worked hard to get there.
Yeah, no, yeah, and he has great
It's probably tough for him to realize that peak was so short.
Yeah,
I imagine that's been tough on him.
Yeah, but like my thing is Puka Nacua's been. I mean, the plan was never to take anything away from Cooper Kupp. McVay, I don't think McVay knew what he had in the Puka Nacua pick.
I'd be shocked if.
If he did, he would have taken Puka Nacua in the first round and wouldn't have taken any chances on him falling.
If he did, then he's a genius. Maybe he knew exactly what Puka would be.
Maybe he knew what he. If he did,
no,
he didn't know. Yeah, so there's that. If you can't stay healthy, you can't be super upset that this guy's taking over when he's younger, and this season he's been better than you when he's played. And then on top of that, like, if you want out of LA, like, that's cool. I don't know how many situations you'll find that are better than Sean McVay and Matt Stafford. And if you embrace this number 2 role, you can really eat with Puka Nacua taking attention off of you. So if you, I don't know.
How old is he? 31, 32?
He's drafted in like 2018. I think he's younger than that.
You think he's 31?
Oh, is he? I know. Well, I know he has great intangibles.
Yeah.
The man when he went to that Manning camp, they were saying great things about him. That he had all the naturals to be a great receiver.
31.
Oh, so he's old.
Yeah, he's old, but I mean, like, there's
He,
no reason why you can't do what he's doing, assuming he stays healthy and assuming that that's not an indicative thing on him. No
yeah,
reason you couldn't do this for another 2 years
yeah.
on
I
this team.
I just yeah. I mean that the Rams have to decide
Yeah.
what they're gonna do. I don't know how much money they have, but
You
I
think it's
think they
time
have
to
a
start
decent enough core to.
keep doing this? You think? I don't think
I
so.
don't know. I don't think they can win a Super Bowl with this roster. They have a decent enough core to
Just keep
throw
taking hacks.
to just put all their chips back on the table and try what they did in 2020 and just cash in
They
your.
got no money for that.
Yeah, it's true.
I
And
think. Do you think it's time to start planning for succession for Matthew Stafford?
um,
Like, do you think it's time to start looking
what
for a guy? Not this year. Not this
yeah,
year.
I think
I'm saying, do we
next
start
year.
the search?
Yeah,
Do we start like opening our mind to the possibility of finding a new quarterback?
yeah. I mean, they could draft bolster the defensive front. I mean, not the defensive front. Their defensive backfield. Get corners, safety. See what you can get in free agency.
They have no
Um,
money. They won't
yeah,
have
it's
any money
true.
for I think this year and next year.
So yeah, I guess you're gonna have to. I mean, maybe you can move on from Cooper Cup to free some money and you play half your games without him anyways. Just
Yeah,
saying it how
it's
it
the
is.
truth. Yeah.
So there you could try that. I don't know. What do you think? You get a second or third round pick for Cooper Cup?
If you could, the thing is, I don't know how long. The problem is the roster's like in reverse. Like
Yeah.
they have no money. They have a bunch of young talent and then aging like superstars. It's so weird.
Yeah.
Like if you, I know they did this for like this 1 year and everything else has been gravy kind of because they were expecting to suck. I think for a bit afterwards.
Yeah.
But and like they've been better than
As
I
long as
think
Stafford's been healthy, they've been good.
they've been good. And but I think we're getting to the point now where like because like Jared Verse is on his rookie deal, right? You got Kobe Turner, you have Brandon Fisk. All those guys are really cheap. So if you had a rookie quarterback instead of paying Stafford all that money and Cooper Cup all that money, if you weren't paying those guys all that money, you could, and you had a rookie quarterback who was good enough to win games, you'd be the best team in the NFC
Yeah.
because you have the best coach in the NFC, probably.
Try trading Stafford,
As
but there's nobody in this draft that they'll be able to get.
I know, but you know what I'm saying though. Like
Yeah.
if you could find like,
You could take a shot on Jackson Dart in the second or third round.
oof,
Um,
hard pass.
yeah, I mean, but with Cooper Cup, I don't. There's not going to be a huge market for him because, I mean, he's older, he's expensive, and the teams that are ready to compete don't like the Chiefs and Bills don't really have a ton of money for a wide receiver. And Stephon Diggs, Keenan Allen, and Amari Cooper will all be on the market. I'm saying Cooper Cup's probably better than those guys right now.
Is it Tyreek Hill?
Tyreek Hill, no, I said
Okay.
Stephon Diggs, Keenan Allen, Cooper Cup, or Amari Cooper.
Cup's definitely better than
Amari Cooper. I think he's better than three of those guys.
Yeah.
But those guys are all going to be significantly cheaper.
Yeah. Stephon Diggs will be free essentially.
Yeah, Amari Cooper. I mean,
Amari Cooper won't be free.
he won't be free, but he'll be cheaper than
Even Keenan Allen probably won't be free.
But they'll be cheaper than Amari or Cooper Cup.
They will, yeah.
A good deal cheaper.
Stephon Diggs will be free.
Stephon Diggs will be free. He's old, has bad knees, and you don't know what he's going to do in your locker room.
He's probably still good though.
Yeah,
like he's probably still pretty good. You know what I mean? Like he's probably still a number 2 receiver.
He's probably a decent number 2.
Yeah, which is crazy because he'll be free. You'll be able to get him for.
Yeah, I think he'll go to a team like Kansas City.
Probably.
Try to ring chase.
Probably.
All
right, where do the Ravens go from here? Does anything major need to change or no?
Not you don't fire any of your coaches.
No, probably not. Even though I'm not in love with John Harbaugh after this season. My opinion of him has diminished throughout this year.
Yeah, but they're not going to fire John Harbaugh.
And I don't think they should either.
They're not going to move on from him in Lamar's prime.
How do you get a better coach than John Harbaugh?
You don't.
No, not really.
I think you have to add one more piece.
You don't think Zay Flowers being healthy and having a home playoff game would be enough to do it?
It could, but like, I mean, they were the 3 seed this
Or you're
year.
saying they're not going to get a home playoff game?
No, my fear is, I mean, they weren't fully healthy. The only real injury they had going into the game was Flowers.
But obviously, what's his name got hurt?
Bateman got
Bateman
hurt.
got hurt in the first half.
It was the second half.
Maybe.
But yeah. I mean, even if they got by Buffalo, I don't know how much I would have liked them. I don't know how much I would have liked them to go into Kansas City and win. Then, like, and they couldn't. They were going to be on the road the entire playoffs. And if they were a road team, if they weren't a top 2 seed with this roster, it's going to be hard to win the Super Bowl.
So what piece do you see them getting? What piece do you think they?
They don't have money. Maybe swing on a receiver in the draft.
Stephon Diggs.
Stephon Diggs, yeah.
You'd like that, I think.
Yeah. I mean, they just had their
I think you'd rather go to the Ravens and the Chiefs.
I mean, they're down a draft pick from
Derrick Henry.
Deontay Johnson. They gave up a third for him and got 4 targets in return.
I don't know why they did that.
Well, the issue was Deontay Johnson was a cancer in their locker room, so much so they had to get him off the team.
Yeah, absurd.
I mean, they brought him back, but he's not playing. It's just for a draft pick. But yeah, he was refusing to play.
Silly stuff.
If I'm the Ravens, I'd look more at a guy like Amari Cooper or Keenan Allen, just because.
You think Stephon Diggs is a cancer?
Yeah, well, Stephon Diggs has a lower floor than those guys. Not necessarily talent speaking, but
even given the injury.
Oh,
you meant lower floor. Okay,
yeah, lower floor.
Yeah. I wasn't.
Yeah. I'm not even necessarily talking about skill, but just how detrimental he could be to a team, and if he starts demanding targets from Lamar, you really don't want that happening because Lamar.
Yeah, I can see him getting frustrated in that offense.
Yeah, because no receiver there is getting consistent touches. He's trying to stat pad to get in the Hall of Fame. Like he said himself. Like, what do you say? I'm not a fool. I've seen the numbers. I know how far away I am from where I want to be.
That's true. That receivers don't really want to go to the Ravens because
they don't eat.
They don't eat. You got to be a real unselfish guy to want to go to the Ravens.
Yeah, and Stephon Diggs is many things, but
most people wouldn't call him unselfish.
No, and so and Lamar already has issues, I'd say, in big moments of getting in his own head and hesitating on decisions or deciding to run or throw or making the right read and stuff like that, and having another voice in his ear
can't help.
Can't help. Yeah. I mean, he's had off the field issues.
Yeah.
He had that sexual assault allegation.
Yeah. A lot of crazy stuff you were telling me about him.
Yeah, sleeping with Cardi B.
Yeah.
I saw something.
Look, I don't judge people for whatever their sexual proclivities may be.
Yeah.
But I don't think you should beat somebody up because they claim.
That doesn't make you look innocent either.
Yeah. No, if your goal is to clear your name, I don't think that's the way to do it. But that's just me. Everybody does it.
Yeah. I mean, whatever he prefers, I hope he gets plenty of it. Yep. I hope he's not assaulting anyone in the process.
More power to him.
He's a handsome guy. I don't think he has to do all that.
I don't think so. I think. Look, man. I think. Look, if you like what you like what you like. But I don't think you need to assault anybody for it. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. Especially, doesn't he do modeling for GQ or something?
Yeah. You know.
Yeah. Like, I think he'll be just fine.
I think so.
Being himself, he seems funny. I saw something. I don't know if it's true, but Jack Doherty was claiming he got in a fight with Stephon Diggs at a restaurant last night.
He got into a fight with Stephon Diggs? A physical fight?
Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, they said it got like broken up, and Stephon Diggs had to leave the restaurant.
Have you seen Jack Doherty?
Yeah, Stephon Diggs could I
feel like we know if you got into a fight.
Yeah, well,
he has bodyguards.
Yeah, Jack Doherty said he had a bodyguard.
Yeah.
I don't know much about Jack Doherty, but from what I know, he seems like the kind of guy who'd fabricate a story such as that.
I know a lot about Jack Doherty because I'm chronically online, and
Does that sound like something he'd exaggerate?
Yes.
He might have just bumped into Stephon Diggs at a restaurant.
He maybe called him a funny name. Outside of that, I can't.
Probably
I cannot,
not even. And Stephon Diggs probably didn't even look at him.
Yeah, I cannot picture him coming to fisticuffs, or honestly anybody that he's in. I can't even picture one of his bodyguards.
He's not gonna take an NFL player in a fight.
Not only is he not going to do it, but he's not going to have his bodyguards do it because Stephon Diggs has more money than him, and it'll take a lot. And Jack Doherty, if you don't know anything about him, he's kind of hard pressed for cash right now. Stephon Diggs will take whatever
about,
he has
Polo
left.
G robbing him.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, there's that.
He'll sue the shit out of him.
Yeah, I also don't know why he'd be flexing on it about pressing a guy who's freshly off crutches.
Yeah, we're not going to spend another second.
Yeah, that probably didn't happen. Not worth talking about.
Are you buying or selling your Texan stock after this loss? I'm buying.
Yeah, I think CJ Stroud will have a better year than he did last year.
I think he's still on track.
Yeah, they need a receiver unless they decide to bring back Diggs. Even if they bring back Diggs, they still need a receiver.
I mean, Tank Dell's back.
I don't know if he'll be ready until next year.
Oh.
I don't think he'll be ready by week 1.
Yeah, well, if Diggs is gone, which I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think they have the money to address that. Their offensive line needs they have some holes that need to be fixed, but I think Stroud will bounce back. And that defense is very underrated in my opinion.
And their divisions, it's not. It should be just as easy next year as it is this year.
Yeah.
No real reason why. I mean, Titans have the first overall pick, but I don't see
unless Cam Ward or Shedeur Sanders come out and.
Yeah.
I mean, Jaden Daniels did it.
Yeah, but I don't think either of those.
I don't think they're as good as him, but I'm not going to say anything's impossible after witnessing that.
Yeah. But they're not as good as him.
Maybe Anthony Richardson finally puts the tools together.
Possible, I guess.
Trevor Lawrence. I don't even know where to start with that Jaguars team.
We'll talk about the McCarthy thing when we get to the Jaguars.
Yeah.
Carousel. But I wanted to ask you this because I was arguing with my friend about this in our group chat. Bobby Slowick. Do you like him? You like Slowick?
I don't know enough about the Texans offense to have a strong opinion. Their offensive line was weak this year, and their receivers were hurt, so I'm not going to hold a ton against him for that.
Because he almost came out as a head coach last year.
Yeah.
And this year, people seem to be a lot lower on him. And I was just wondering if you had any strong opinions about him as a coordinator and if they should move on.
I don't think they should move on. I don't know how much more you could have expected from that team. I mean, earlier in the year when Joe Mixon was going, they were a team to be reckoned with. They need to fix their receivers and patch up their O-line, but I'm pretty sure they have the money to do that.
Yeah, they should.
I don't know if are they paying anyone that much money?
No.
Danielle Hunter?
Oh yeah, he's getting paid a lot. That's it.
Yeah.
Laramie Tunsil.
Yeah.
He's getting paid a lot.
But that's
left tackle.
It's a left tackle and a edge rusher.
Left tackles get paid a lot.
They have a quarterback on a rookie deal. Nico Collins is getting paid. Is he still on a rookie deal?
He's still on a rookie deal. He's not getting paid anything.
Stephon Diggs, they already wiped their hands free of Stephon Diggs if they want to move on. Derek Stingley, Will Anderson.
Dalton Schultz, I think, is getting paid but he's a tight end. They don't make any money.
He's getting $8 million a year.
They don't make any money. Will Anderson's on a rookie deal. Stingley's on a rookie deal.
Unless you're Travis Kelce, you're not making money as a tight end.
He's not even making that much money. Kamari Lassiter's not making that much money.
Yeah, so they have the facilities to to patch up their holes. I would invest.
I gotta buy.
They will be. I don't know if they'll be a Super Bowl threat next year. Up there with KC, Baltimore, Buffalo, or Cincinnati. But they're gonna have a home playoff game every year until.
No reason they shouldn't.
And
if a team catches them in that division, even if it's the Jaguars, something's gone wrong. If any team in that division,
unless Trevor Lawrence is having an MVP year.
If a team catches them in that division, something's gone terribly wrong. Terribly wrong. Because the Jaguars were horrible this year.
They were arguably the worst team in football.
And we don't think Doug Peterson is that bad. not worst coach in football bad. No one has ever thought that. So that means that if they catch you, something's gone horribly wrong. Or maybe
Yeah,
Doug Peterson was worse than we thought he was. One of the two
yeah.
is true.
That was really interesting with me because you had the Derrick Henry Titans who were the 1 seed, and then they started off like 6-2. Then the wheels collapsed in 2022, and the Jaguars pulled away, winning like 8 of their last 10. And they started off last year like 6-2 or 8-2, and they look like one of the legit teams in the NFL.
Yeah.
And then wheels fell off there, and
you know what? It could be the Colts' turn next.
Yeah, could be.
Because we've seen the Titans do it. We saw the Jags have their little mini run, I guess. Texans have had their era. Maybe it's the Colts' turn.
If Anthony Richardson can get it together as a passer, they have a decent offensive line.
It could be
their defense is middle of the road, I'd say.
Yeah.
And then their receiving core is nothing to blink at.
No, not at all. Pittman and the white kid Alec Pierce and
Josh Downs.
Josh Downs, that's his name.
Yeah, you got Jonathan Taylor in the backfield too.
Yep. O-line's great. Quentin Nelson and some other guys who I'm sure are good. Their offensive line's always great.
Some other burly white men.
Yeah, some other big, strong white guys. Farmer boys. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm buying though.
What other teams lost this weekend?
Lions. Oh, I wanted to ask you this. How big of an impact do you think it'll be losing Ben Johnson and Aaron Glenn? Like, how many wins do you think they? How many? What were they this year? 14-3.
Yeah.
So how many wins do they lose after losing those guys? What's their new record? If you had to project it.
I don't know. I have to think more about it. Look at their schedule, stuff like that. Their opponents.
Yeah.
I'm not terribly worried about it. I think the thing that's most likely to happen is it'll just be a different football team. Like we saw, I don't think they'll be worse, but like we saw the Chiefs fundamentally change when they lost Bieniemy. Became more of a defensive team.
Yeah. But I think that's also a personnel thing.
Yeah.
They lost Tyreek Hill that same.
But even the Bills from Dorsey to Joe Brady, it's been a different style of offense.
Yeah.
I don't know why you would significantly change that offense.
The Eagles changed a lot after losing Shane Steichen.
Yeah. So
their defensive coordinator who was Jonathan Gannon.
Yeah. So they could I don't know why you'd change anything about that offense really at all.
That's how it works. They'll have to change.
They'll have to change, but like if you could get it running if you could keep the playbook, you might want to keep the playbook.
They can't do that. They can't do that. That's not how it works. You gotta drop a new playbook.
Yeah, but like if you try to keep similar plays and run things similarly, similar formations and motions,
that doesn't work.
But because they had a good offense, I don't think you want to.
Yeah, but that doesn't work. Like it's not how it works. Like playbooks are like living things. Like they need to be updated.
Yeah, of course. But I'm saying you keep the core the same. Like
it can't be similar if the guy who's creating and changing the playbook. That's not his style.
Yeah.
Otherwise, he can't prune it and change it well enough for it to be good. It'll fail.
I suppose they'll probably hire within though, and the guy. There were other guys working on that with Ben Johnson.
Yeah, so hopefully it remains, but something happens.
I mean, they get healthy, they run it back. They had a very good roster, very well-rounded. So I don't think they'll stumble. They might lose a game or two more, but only because they had 2 losses. I mean, so like, I don't suspect it'll change that much.
On a scale of like,
I think they'll still win the division.
On a scale of like Aaron Rodgers to Josh Allen, how much do you love Dan Campbell?
I'm not as high on him as. I'm as high on him as the media is, and I'm not as low as him as the media is.
You don't borderline want him to raise your kids?
as a family man, as a good red-blooded American.
As a
I mean,
motivator.
yeah, no, I like him. Yeah, he's a little more aggressive than I'd prefer my head coach to be.
Mm-hmm.
But that's who he is. Detroit loves him for it.
That clip of him crying at the presser,
Yeah,
like, I love that. Remember the Titans and that shit.
yeah.
I really do. I really do.
The clip too, where he's like, "You guys are all I ever think about."
Yeah.
Yeah, that
I
clip.
mean, I grew like the rest of us. I grew up watching sports movies.
Yeah,
That shit's some sports movie shit.
yeah.
I like it.
I like him. The players like him.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the Lions' record might change. Probably it'll be a little worse, only because there's more room to fall than there is to rise.
Any
Just
major concerns about Goff?
like, can he win a Super Bowl?
No. Maybe just can he make a Super Bowl?
I mean, he made a Super Bowl before, with a less stacked offense, probably.
You could argue he had a better offensive mind. You can't argue he definitely had a better offensive mind.
Yeah, and McVay might have.
Coach.
I mean, but who knows? We might be talking about Ben Johnson like that in a few years.
Could be. Could be.
He looked bad. I don't know why the Commanders' offense gave him so much, or defense gave him so much trouble. Not, not exactly a team you should be. What do you throw? 2 picks?
Yeah. Well, Dan Quinn put together.
Or 3 picks at the end?
I think 3 in the 2-minute drill. I think that was the third.
Yeah. So
Dan Quinn put together a masterful.
Yeah, he did.
Plan. Really.
Yeah.
Got up in his grill.
I think Jared Goff is on the verge of very, very good, but not good enough to win a Super Bowl, or on the bottom end of the scale of one of the worst quarterbacks that you could still win a Super Bowl with.
Yeah, we just don't know.
I mean, yeah, we've seen Joe Flacco's and who's the Ravens' other quarterback that won it?
Trent Dilfer.
Yeah, we've seen those guys win Super Bowls.
Yeah.
That's a very different game.
Yeah.
I think it's possible, but I'd be having some. I mean, they love him in Detroit, but if he was on my team, I'd definitely have some doubt.
Yeah, there'll probably be more than likely they'll be okay.
It'll be fine.
All right, so now we can do head coaching. We can do score predictions. We can jump into basketball. Any preferences? What do we call it?
Head coaching. Who else do we need to talk about? Openings. The Jersey.
I wrote something about Jacksonville, McCarthy.
Jacksonville, the Jersey Jets.
Raiders are open.
Raiders. Raiders, I don't know where they go. I felt pretty confident that Ben Johnson was going there.
Yeah, we covered Dallas and we covered Chicago.
Yeah, Raiders. I mean, I guess Pete Carroll. I don't know who else. I'd have to look who else they're interviewing. I guess
Saints.
Saints too.
Aaron Glenn seems like the Jets. Everything I'm hearing sounds like Jets.
Sounds like the Jets. He wants to go to the Jets. As long as he seems like the best candidate for the Jets, as long as Woody doesn't Woody it up, he should be a Jet.
Yeah, I hope he is. Please, I hope he is.
Saints. I don't know who they like or what they go with. They're not really. I mean, the division's fairly open, but they have no money. They're aging
weird fucking team.
Stars. They're
a weird fucking team.
Yeah.
I can never get a read on what it is they're doing or even trying to do.
Well, ever since they left Breeze, they've been in purgatory, and the only reason
they've been incredible.
Jets are in mutual interest between the Jets and Aaron Glenn. Actually, just now.
I think I like that. That's what I like to hear. That's positive.
Yeah. So yeah. The issue is the Saints. They're like a worse version of the Steelers.
Yeah, way worse.
Yeah. But that's just what happens in the NFL if you have too much pride to hit the reset button.
Yeah, you gotta just fucking trust the process and start tanking.
Yeah.
you like McCarthy's fit in Jacksonville? You like that? You into that kind of thing?
I guess I don't. I like him a little more than some of these young guys like Brady, just because he has more experience.
Sure. I think he's good with quarterbacks. You got Trevor Lawrence,
yeah,
who was once he had a generational talent. Still is,
yeah,
kinda. I mean, not really, but kinda.
yeah. So, I mean, I think he's I like that because I think he has the highest floor of the remaining candidates.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that'd be good for the Jaguars to try to bring some stability, and I mean they have talent.
I hope he lands somewhere. I hope McCarthy lands somewhere.
Weird. Every single person on that roster is disgustingly underperforming.
Yeah. Who
Like
on the Jags?
yeah,
Yeah.
like their
Yeah.
team isn't as bad. Like their roster's not that bad, but like ETN just decided he's no longer that guy. Trevor Lawrence, we've seen good football from Trevor Lawrence, but
That wasn't it.
he didn't want to. He didn't want to show us this
Yeah,
year.
by and large, that wasn't it.
Um,
Brian Thomas Jr.
was the one thing good.
He's real good.
Yeah,
He's like Romo
he's
Dunde definitely shouldn't have picked over him.
yeah,
He looks like he was like just as good as Malik Neighbors.
yeah.
Like it looks like we overlooked him seriously as a prospect.
It's crazy that LSU team didn't want to even go to the SEC championship.
Yeah, that is crazy in retrospect with all those.
That's Brian Kelly for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, even on defense, they got some guys. Kynes Allen and actually,
Foyesade Oluokun.
oh yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
That's pretty good.
That's
like it though that I can think of really. I mean, no, they have
some pieces, but
I got the guy on the D line who we all like. Whatever.
Oh, Trayvon Walker.
Oh yeah, I wasn't even talking about him. But I mean,
he's not bad. He just made the wrong pick, and
yeah.
It seemed like the wrong pick then. It seems like the wrong pick now.
Yeah, that was so weird. It's so weird when that shit happens.
Yeah,
it was so weird when Zach Wilson was the number 2 overall pick. Everyone was like, he's not the second best quarterback. Like nobody thought that he should be picked over number 2. Nobody thought Trayvon Walker should be picked number 1. We knew this is not revisionist history. I was there. Nobody was.
Everyone firmly believed Aiden Hutchinson was better.
Yeah.
It must have been some narrative that needed to be pushed with the Michigan man going to Detroit. So I can't think of one other good.
Shit like that is so weird to me. I don't know how that happens.
Either there's some secret agenda we don't know about, or the Jaguars are just being polite and felt bad for the Lions.
Yeah, I mean maybe.
Because I can't. But I mean that's old news.
Yeah. I don't know. That was always.
They could be there. I think McCarthy's a good fit in that sense. Saints. I mean, Vegas would be cool from the sense of you got a cornerstone in Crosby and Bowers. Besides that, you got which are 2 big pieces on the offense and defense.
I mean, cool. You have a great tight end.
Yeah, but you have a lot of money. You have a clean slate to do whatever you want.
Yeah.
And work with Thomas Bradley.
The Raiders like firing dudes though.
Yeah, I mean,
they're not extraordinarily.
Are we shocked that
maybe that'll change with Brady?
That Woody Johnson, Jerry Jones, and Mark Davis are all looking for new head coaches?
No, we're not. The Raiders really like firing dudes. Like, say what you want about Woody, but Saleh got a pretty long leash.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like not like insanely long, but at least average.
Yeah.
He went.
I mean,
he won like 4 games, won 7 games, and won 7 games, and then won like another like 2. Like,
yeah. Well, the thing is with Saleh, which was weird, was I think the whole thing of him getting fired was Woody wanted to bench Aaron Rodgers and call it quits on the Aaron Rodgers experiment after 5 or 6 weeks, and then Saleh was just like, no, I don't want to do that, and then Saleh got fired. Yeah. I don't know why you fire your head coach because you didn't want to bench the quarterback and then continue to play the quarterback. We could talk about the dysfunction of the Jets for hours.
We could do a podcast on the Jets dysfunction.
Could have a specialty episode.
We might do that.
We could.
We might.
After the season ends, talk about the Woody
complete ineptitude of the Jets. Read the reports.
Yeah, I mean,
notes.
we could do that about the Bears too. The Bears could be a good
That'd
one.
be fun.
Yeah,
I'd enjoy that. We're in Chicago, might as well.
yeah.
That'd be fun.
Talk about
We both learned something from it.
Yeah, could really go into depth with those teams. But then, yeah, the Raiders would be cool if you have a great vision and you have all these ideas on bringing in pieces. Maybe you go for Sam Darnold, draft a receiver. I don't know.
Yeah. I know. You're right though.
Go for Sam Darnold, draft Travis Hunter. Like maybe get something going.
It just depends on how long a leash you get.
Yeah.
Like how quick. Because I mean.
Yeah, I think it'd be a 2-year gig.
Antonio Pierce didn't get a 2-year gig.
Yeah, well, he was an interim coach. I don't.
Hired him.
Yeah, I don't. Well, I guess was he the one that came in after? No, he came after McDaniels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had to mop up that mess, and then they were just like, "Nah, you're good, actually."
Yeah.
I mean, how much improvement were you expecting?
He had nothing.
What was he supposed to do?
But yeah, I mean, you got more to work with there than New Orleans.
Yeah.
I mean, you have less on the roster, but like New Orleans,
they're consistently cap hell.
They're in cap hell, and they really don't have anything to show for it.
They're a very old roster.
Yeah.
They really have no young talent
besides Olave.
Yeah, it's kind of just him.
Yeah, and I mean, the difference maker for me, if I was choosing between Vegas and New Orleans,
Demario Davis is old. Cam Jordan is old.
Yeah.
Alvin Kamara is old. Who else do they have?
Is Davenport there?
Yeah, I don't know, maybe.
But yeah,
Ryan Ramczyk, old.
Yeah,
they're the roster that was there in the last.
You got Taysom Hill if you're into that kind of thing.
Yeah, if you like that, if that's what you're into.
Yeah, no, but
you know what I mean.
The main, if I was a head coach and I had to choose between Vegas and New Orleans, I'd go to Las Vegas. Really, the only difference is one of them has a Derek Carr in the building and the other one doesn't.
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't want to coach Derek Carr. Derek Carr will get you fired.
Derek Carr will get you fired. Derek Carr will get you fired.
Yeah, I hear he's a nice guy though, so I hope he keeps doing nice guy stuff. But
I mean, if I'm being completely honest, just out of in terms of wanting a good product, I don't really want to see Derek Carr play a bunch more football.
Yeah, no, for sure.
As a starter,
if you're into low scoring Thursday night games that are blowouts, like great, you'd love the Derek Carr product, but I think even people in New Orleans are tired of him.
I think he's better than Jameis Winston. But as a fan, I have no interest in seeing him more times a year than Jameis Winston.
Yeah, right. Jameis Winston will give you more entertaining football.
Yeah,
he's not going to get sacked 8 times a game.
I got no interest in seeing. I don't care about. I'm done with Derek Carr.
Based on what Michael Thomas was saying, seems like the people in New Orleans aren't even feeling Derek Carr anymore. So
Michael Thomas doesn't seem like a reliable narrative.
It was funny though.
It was funny. It does not seem like a trustworthy source.
Yeah, so I mean, I think the thing is with Derek Carr, if he's in your family, you want to see him play.
Sure,
you want to see him get paid.
Sure.
If you're a fan of football, you might not be the biggest Derek Carr guy.
No, you don't care. You don't care.
Well, yeah, I don't know what you do with Derek Carr.
Nobody does.